I'm Rusty Halvorson for the Mighty 790 and 104.7 KFGO. We talked with Carson Klosterman of Richland County, who farms near Wyndmere, about planting delays this past spring and how they led to harvest considerations this fall.
From the 21 planting season to the 22, we were almost 5 to 6 weeks later. So, and that's showing up in the tonnage. We're sitting around 15 to 20% lower than last year's harvest. And then amongst other challenges, the numerous times it took to go to the field to plant these spots and that spot leads to some harvest issues because the size of the beet is different. So when the topper operator taking the leaves off has a little more work for him as the beets have inconsistent size. The harvester has to be more alert as the rows aren't lined up perfect for the whole half mile. Truck, the harvester itself runs on a tight tolerance, so not much room for air to have those pinch wheels lift the beets out of the ground and get them in the truck. The ground is hard, so it's tough to get the harvester in the ground to help bring in a little bit of soil to help carry the beets through the machine. Carson is a family farmer, and he says there are challenges when it comes to passing it along to the next generation. We've been doing it for 49, 50 years, and third generation doing it on our farm, and don't know no difference. The sugar beet industry as a whole does have its challenges ahead of it because you know, the farmer's doing what the farmer can do to grow sugar at the lowest cost, and the factory's doing what the factory can to process that sugar and make as much white granular sugar to sell as possible. The trouble is everybody's costs are going up, and you can't just necessarily go and grow more beets to make more sugar because the factory has to process it in a timely fashion. But when you have end users that have the same amount of sugar costing them the same amount that it has for 30, 40 years, something on that end needs to give, because the ones growing the sugar and processing the sugar have squeeze themselves as much as they can that the next thing to keep the industry alive and well is end users paying for the American sugar. 2 cents of sugars in a Hershey's candy bar, and with the farmer being as lean as they have gotten and the co-op operating as lean as they can, you would think for an American-made product that the end users would be willing to pay more for that sugar than the same price they've been doing for the past 20, 30, 40 years.
Minn-Dak Farmers Cooperative is celebrating 50 sweet years in 2022. The co-op was officially formed in August of 1972 and produced the first crop in 1974.
Everything's going really well so far. So we started our early campaign on August 29th, and actually our main harvest just started about 36 hours ago. So we're kind of fresh into it yet. During the early campaign, of course, we only take out enough beets to keep the factory running at capacity, but only enough on the ground so they don't spoil. They have a very short shelf life at that kind of temperature. And we take roughly about 12% of the crop out, and that's kind of what we saw this year. As we roll in the main lift, one thing that we're noticing is the yields are going to be a little bit lighter than certainly we'd like, and that kind of goes with the late planting and then the lack of rainfall, but the quality has been outstanding for us so far. We kind of high five and chest bump if we get sugars around that 18%, and we're seeing stuff in that upper 18s, even low 19s. So very excited to see what the rest of the main harvest has to bring.
Well, things have been going fairly well for us this year with recruitment of our employees. We still have many great opportunities and positions available at this point in time. We have entry-level positions in the factory, we have electrician positions, instrument tech.
Minn-Dak Farmers Cooperative is the first sugar beet cooperative in the United States. We are incorporated in 1972. So we are celebrating our 50 sweet years this year. The shareholders invested their money in order to get that plant built, and we were able to process beets in 1974. You know, land is our legacy for our children, for our family, and I'll tell you what, they are the best stewards of the land around. They are going to make darn sure that this co-op is there in 50 years. They're doing their best practices. They're getting that crop in the ground, nurturing it through the summer, getting that harvested in the fall, and they do a great job. And
For the Mighty 790 and 104.7 KFGO, I'm Rusty Halvorson.